Now, let's go ahead and move on to complex sentences. So, a complex sentence has three components as well. Has an independent clause, a dependent clause, otherwise known as subordinating conjunction or a subordinating clause, and they're joined together by a subordinating conjunction. I know this sounds a bit difficult to understand, but it's really simple. Getting a little bit more into it. So the independent clause again is a simple sentence or a complete sentence, right? A dependent clause, on the other hand, if the independent clause means it can stand on its own, a dependent clause means that it cannot stand on its own. So it needs something else to actually form a sentence. Because when something is dependent on something, it needs to depend on something else. So in this case, the dependent clause is depending on the independent clause. Think about the dependent clause being the son or the daughter, and the independent clause being the father or the mother that maintains the child. So in order to have those go together, we cannot just put a dependent clause and an independent clause together. We have to put a subordinating conjunction in. Just the same way that we did in two simple sentences with a coordinating conjunction. Here, we're using a subordinating conjunction because we're not dealing with two simple sentences or two independent clauses. We're dealing with one independent clause and one dependent clause. And for that reason, we have to use a subordinating conjunction. What is a subordinating conjunction, Abraham, you ask? Well, it's bat, wash, tub. It's an easy acronym that we can remember. So let's go ahead and see what bat, wash, tub is. So we can remember it as because, although, though, when, after, since, how, till, until, before. These are all different words that are categorized as subordinating conjunctions, and they're not just limited to these, but these are this is an acronym that can help you remember some of them when you're writing. So these we have to use at the beginning of the subordinating conjunction. Let's look at some examples. The first number one and number two. Because Alex forgot his wallet, and that's what we were talking about earlier about not having a complete thought. Because here, what happened because Alex forgot his wallet? And realize that we have here a subordinating conjunction at the beginning of the sentence. Remember, we said bat, wash, tub. We have because, and it's linked to because over there. So we know that this is subordinating conjunction. So because Alex forgot his wallet, what? What happened because Alex forgot his wallet? If we go ahead and link it with an independent clause, remember, which is just another word for simple sentence, it's Alex could not buy lunch. So Alex could not buy lunch is an independent clause. That's the father or the mother and could take care of a dependent clause, which is the because Alex forgot his wallet. So if we merge these together, we can make it work, right? So we have on the bottom, because Alex forgot his wallet, he could not buy lunch. And that's perfect. That merges them both together because the subordinate clause or the dependent clause is relying on the independent clause. Now, we could even do it the other way. Realize that a necessary component when we have the subordinating clause in the beginning is that we have to follow it by a comma. So, because Alex forgot his wallet, comma, he could not buy lunch. If we could even do this the other way and do it, he could not buy lunch because Alex forgot his wallet. In that case, we wouldn't need a comma. So only provide the comma when the subordinating conjunction is in the beginning of the sentence. Now that we've gone over simple, compound, and complex sentences, like we said earlier, we're not going to speak about compound, complex, but I would advise to look at that later. And this